Hello everyone, welcome to the College Point. So today we will be learning about the different aspects of logic under Indian philosophy, right? So the first is Nyaya philosophy, Nyaya concept of logic, which was given by Gautam Muni, and he said the reasoning, the validation, the process of logical validation can be converted, categorized into the four part: Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upama, Shabda, right? So I'll give you one small example of it. Um, when you perceive something with the help of your five sensory organs, right? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, then it is a part of your pratyaksha. So when a child touches a hot uh, uh, vessel and feels hot, pratyaksha, right? Anuman, we compare, we analyze, we infer something, right? We feel ki if this is then that will also similar to it. That is the Anuman concept. An example I can give you for the Anuman concept is, you by mistakenly hold your hand over the burning candle and you got burned, right? So you can feel, अनुमान आप लगा सकते हो कि if this is so hot, such a small candle light is so hot, then you can imagine the big large sun, how much hot it must be, right? So that is the concept of anuman. Upama, you compare, okay? If you want to tell any person the length of the height of the double decker bus, the person has not seen, and you want to explain that person without using any technology or Google, you are just explaining that person, right? About the how long the double decker bus is and how much seats are into it and how it is different from the actual bus. So what you do, you upama, आप किसी का उदाहरण देते हो, you give, you compare something with something, right? You say that put this bus on above the bus, so the size of the bus becomes the size of the double decker bus, in that way, whatever things, right? So this is known as the upama. And verbal testimony. Verbal testimony means, as in the college, your faculty teaches you and you believe on them that whatever things that they teach is correct. Sometimes we have not seen any festivals, right? As most of the students live in the urban city, many small rituals that the people follow in the villages, we don't know about them. But one of your grandfather, grandmother, any one of the oldest person in the family, they say that this is how we used to celebrate some festivals or occasion, and we believe them. This is the concept of verbal testimony, which is Shabda. So, a knowledge, if it is valid and it's perceived through all these different sources, then we can say the logical reasoning is correct according to the Nyaya philosophy, right? So, it also known for its detailed analysis of arguments and fallacy. So, Nyaya philosophy helps you to identify the valid reason, and it also helps you to find the fallacy. Now, what is fallacy? Fallacy means something is false. Okay, let's give an example to it. Sometime we hear that the food thali, right? खाने की जो थाली होती है of the Gujaratis, most of their items are very sweet, right? So when someone asks to them कि why your thali is very sweet, most of the food component you include, you put jaggery in the dal, in the cereals, right? You have the many of the dishes you have very sweet. So what reply they give a reply that as we people are very sweet, and so that sweetness is also reflected into the thali, the food the people eat. Okay, so if this is true, then if some of the other regions dishes are very spicy, then we cannot say that those people are very rude and those people are very angry and that's why their food dishes are very spicy, right? So this is a fallacy. Basically it is a fallacy. There might be another reason that jaggery gives a good source of energy, right? Instead of having sugar, people used to have jaggery, and that good or jaggery gives them better energy for the survival, for the efficiency of all their tasks. And this is the reason that their thali consists of the sweet items related to it. So fallacy basically means something which looks like a valid reason, right? But it is actually false. So you are overemphasizing that false things first, and then you are not putting a good premise is of the valid reasons. Okay. Types of fallacies. Savyabhichar means irregular reason. Viruddha, contradictory reason. Sat pratipaksha, counterbalanced reason. Asiddha, unproved reason. Badhita, contradictory reason. And now we will move to the next part, the Vaisheshika philosophy. Okay, Vaisheshika philosophy, as compared to the Nyaya philosophy, it is very much closely related to Nyaya, right? And it is founded by the Rishi Kannad. It recognizes the three categorical reality. So in Nyaya you have Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upama, Shabda, that is four. But in Vaisheshika we follow the three categorical reality: the reality of substance, the reality of quality, and the reality of action. Okay, it focuses on perception, inference, comparison, and shabda, that is verbal testimony, as a valid source of knowledge. Pratyaksha, Anuman, Upama, Shabda. But the main three categorical reasons are substance, quality, and action. So it is the difference between the materiality, material world, and spirituality, the spiritual world. Okay. So this is the Vaisheshik philosophical concept. Now we will move to the next philosophy, which is Nyaya philosophy. Samkhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy was given by Kapila Muni. This logical aspect explains the universe through two fundamental reality, that is Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha means consciousness, all living organism having some sort of life into them is known as Purusha, and Prakriti is the actually the nature or the material things that are available for our survival. It reasons the interaction between these two entities. Samkhya school accepts three pramana, three types of things that they accept: Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda. Okay, to validate the knowledge. Next is Mimamsa. Mimamsa is of two types. Purva Mimamsa is given by Jaimini Rishi, and Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta is given by Rishi Badrayana. Purva Mimamsa is focused on interpreting the Vedas, right? To validate the Veda, to justify the Veda, right? As we have seen here, employs logical principles for justifying Vedic rituals. Uttara Mimamsa or Vedanta, it uses logical reasoning to support idea of non-dualism, where Brahma is the ultimate reality of the world, and all the multiplicity that you can see is known as Maya. So this concept of Brahma and Maya is found in the Vedanta concept, Vedanta logical principles. And dear students, when it comes to the Buddhist logic, the scholars like Nagarjuna, Dignaga, and Dharmakirti, the Buddhist logic basically uses pramana as a valid source of knowledge and inference. These two, they only use this two, right? Whatever things, जिस चीज़ों का आप अनुमान लगा सकते हो और जिन चीज़ों को आपने प्रत्यक्ष में देखा हुआ है, बुद्धिस्ट फिलोसॉफी इन दोनों को ही मानती है. इसके अलावा उपमा या शब्द को मानती नहीं है, ऐसा कहा गया है. To negate the universality concept like Nyaya and Mimamsa, Buddhists used the word apoha. They used the word apoha, which means only particulars exist and universality is the mental construct. So when we look at a cow, right? When we look at a cow, we are actually looking at a particular cow, right? and we can observe the expressions and the behavior of that animal, right? And then we generalize it. What we do, that if this particular cow is behaving like this, then we can say that all the cows in the universe will be behaving like this. So here the Buddhist philosophy uses the term apoha, which means the particular is the real. Particular, what the things that you are perceiving is the real. Universality concept is the mental construct. That is the assumption that we did about the other animals also. Upama हमने दे दी, right? So here are the few activities. You can have a screenshot of it and we can play. See, just take one example of this activity. You will find it interesting, where you can apply all the things related to your the logical concepts. First, there is a cause. School library often remains empty in afternoon, right? This is the cause, this is the problem, and all these are the statements. So as we saw that this is the total big argument, and big argument has different statements in it, and all the statements has some premises, and then we have using, by understanding all these things inside and above it, we will find some conclusion. So let's see, we'll solve this one by one. The various statements are: student don't like reading, library has very few books, timing clash with the sports period, students borrow book for home reading, right? They get one period in a day for library session, rest all are classroom lectures. So these are the various statements. Now you have to segregate these statements and to validate logically this cause, this problem. Student don't like reading. This is your argument. Someone argues, now argues can be, arguments can be positive side, negative side. So this is one argument the person gave. Student don't like reading, directly without validating what is the actual cause of the things. Library has very few books. Yes, it is a premise. Timings clash with the sports period. This is a logic given, because the timing is clashing with the sports period. The students are unable to come over here. Students borrow books for home reading. This is also a logic, or we can say a reasoning, right? A reason which supports the actual problem. How it supports that, as the timing is clashing with the sports period and students are borrowing the books for home reading, then we cannot say that this argument is true, this argument is false. What does the argument says? Students don't like reading. If they don't like the reading, then students are borrowing books for their home reading purpose. Then we cannot say that this argument is correct, this argument is false. They get one period in a day for library session, and rest all lectures are classroom lectures. So all these are the positive side favoring the cause, right? The telling the reason of why the thing is happening. And so we can say, we can find out logically that as library has few books, timings are clashing, and that's why the students are unable to reach the library whenever they require. And this is the actual solution or logical validation of the problem. So what the college should do, or the school should do, they should arrange the timetable in such a way that it is not clashing with the sports period, and they should include multiple library session in a week, so that the students can able to go there and they can read their books, and they can also introduce some new books, so that the problem can be solved of less books in that library. So this is how a logic is validated, and this is how a logical reasoning is actually solved. And this is what the concept of applying, we did one activity for applying all the concepts of logic that we studied for in the upper video part. With this, we'll close here today. Thank you so much. For any of the query, please mention it in the comment box. We try to give multiple valid responses as and when we receive your comments. Thank you so much.